Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today I want to cover a little bit concerning the last video, in which case I described what happens next after you die and you make a decision not to reincarnate again. The entire argument is based upon the concerns that many of you have, because it's your entire soul structure that's got to change. It's not as traumatic as you might think it is, but it can be terrifying if you're not aware of what is going on. Essentially, one of the first things you have to realize is that the soul structure of an individual, one that is an individualized soul, is a rarity in this universe and in many other universes, and certainly in the main universe. It's a rarity. Other species don't compartmentalize their quanta. They have them all together. We like to think that being an individualized soul is a great thing because we have consciousness, and we think that the only way for us to be a self and self-identified person is to have an individualized consciousness. That's not true at all. In effect, what I'm trying to say is the aspects of consciousness that every other creature seems to have, humans don't have, because it's taken away from us and put in another container. And this procedure that will happen through the domain or through other means, if you're connected with another group, is one in which you are reconnected with these other quantas that's been kept separate from you. That's what it is. Really, seriously, that's what it is, and that's how it works. And what I want to impress upon you all here is that your quanta is not going to disappear. Well, not if you're a service to others' sentience, certainly. It's not going to disappear. Your quanta is not going to be discarded. It's not going to be broken up and used for others. Instead, your quanta will be rearranged. This procedure may be akin to fixing a broken bone. The bone has to be moved out of places and put back to a place where it's usable, and then impressed back again together. Now the quanta will be rearranged, and there isn't that much more to it than that. So one of the problems is that you cannot believe or be under the impression that you're going to lose your sense of self. You're not going to lose your sense of self. You won't lose that. You will not lose your sense of self. That is not going to go away. You're going to retain your sense of self. You're going to retain your memories. You're going to retain your identity of who you are. What you're going to gain is a reconnection to these other aspects of your quanta. And what's going to be terrifying is that some of those other aspects have been so removed over so many millions, thousands, or millions of years that they will seem alien to you. So I'm going to use some analogies of what it might be like. These are just analogies. They're only analogies. But for instance, let's suppose it's you, and you happen to like watching football of one type or the other, and you do happen to like to drink coffee on occasion, and one of your hobbies, when you get a spare moment, is to listen to some music in the car alone. Then you undergo this transformation and your soul is reorganized. What happens? Well, you still enjoy coffee. You still enjoy listening to the music in your car alone. You still enjoy a good football game. But now you have more energy and lust for it. Before you would sip your coffee, now you just gulp it, hold it in your mouth in big swigs. Before you used to watch the football game, now you're jumping out of the seat, running to it and wanting to participate. And before you used to listen to the music in the privacy of the car, but now you can taste the sounds as they flow in and out and through your body. These added dimensions have been taken away from you to dumb you down so they can control you. The entire reason why you are a single soul consciousness was to give you the dumbest, slowest parts as part of your consciousness, imprison your consciousness, force it to be locked within a reality, dumb you down to control you. This effort is to regain your energy and to regain who you are. Doesn't change you. It won't change you. You will feel connected to a higher purpose. You will be able to feel a great deal of empathy towards those surrounding you. And so people ask me, they say, why does it have to be service to self? Or service to others? Why can't you have a service to self individual? Except a realignment of quanta. In which case I have to say, look guys, hive and matrix hive structures or soul structures is the norm. If you're a bad apple and you can't connect with others, then how are you going to fit back in society? When you're connected with others as part of a hive or soul matrix, you are literally connected. It's not like a family. It is like twins, an army of twins. You're all really, really connected. Yeah, you maintain your own individual structures, but you are far better connected in other ways. So when you come across and you have these these other aspects of your life, they're important. They're very, very important. And if you're a service to self person, you don't care about those other elements. It doesn't matter to you. You can hurt other people and not feel them because you have somehow isolated yourself. Like a cancerous tumor in the body. A service to self. Picture a beehive with the honeycombs. All bees are working for the betterment of the hive except one area. And they just go one little area and they just go off, do their thing and come back, go off, and they don't contribute to the hive at all. They're just there. And that spot, because it's not being maintained with honey, it's not being maintained by the bees, is beginning to grow gray, dark, and black. That's why it's a cancer. A service to self sentience is a cancer in most social soul constructs. And that's why it has to be kept isolated from the bulk of the rest of the souls. Being an individualized consciousness, a service to self-entity, is like living in a McMansion. You have this big house, this big yard to mow, and you're living in it alone, and it's got 6 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms and a 4-car garage. But you're living in it alone. That's what a service to self sentience is like. A service to others' sentience is like living in a very, very, very large apartment building. Each apartment is very, very nice because it's maintained by the entire whole. No, you don't have 5 bedrooms. You have a nice bedroom for yourself. It's complete kitchen, complete living room, complete everything. You have air-conditioned elevators take you up and down. You go to the main lobby where you meet with all the other people who live in your building, and it's part of a complex of other buildings, and you all meet in safety because everybody knows everybody else in that complex. And it's all a walled-in enclosure. This is like what they have in China. It's like a walled-in enclosure, and if you leave it, or if anybody wants to leave the outside and come on in, they're vetted because you don't want bad people coming in. So everybody is safe and protected because they rely on each other. They have this sense of community. The sense of community is fundamental to understanding what a hive or a matrix soul structure is like. Consider cats. You've seen cats fight over areas. There's no question that one cat says, "This is my area and I'm going to fight with you." The other cat says, "This is my area, I'm going to fight with you." But they're both members of a matrix soul. Their souls are interconnected. So you can tell And you can see they have individual personalities, individual memories, individual beliefs and territories. Yet at the same time, they're connected in a hive matrix, or a matrix for their soul construction. So there's really nothing you need fear about going from a individual soul to one of a community soul, or a hive or matrix soul. There should not be any concerns about that whatsoever.
In an earlier video, I discussed how you would take your physical body and your non-physical body working together that had your quanta, and how you had your manted, your higher energy self, within its body, and both of you had to be separate. But eventually there comes a point in time for you to leave this universe, and you need this higher energy. You need the higher energy that is held within the manted to extract yourself from this universe. I said that in cases of those who are working with the mantids, that a specialized vessel would be constructed, and that your quanta would be added and placed in it, which is a frightening thing, as well as the quanta from your higher energy self, and it would be in this vessel of sorts.
Now you can see in the video that it's all pretty simple. You don't lose any quanta. In fact, you gain quanta. One of the tricky things that's going to happen, depending upon your relationship with your manted GP, is some of your previous quanta may not be easily recoverable immediately. The manted may not want to contribute its quanta, or may only contribute some of its quanta towards your betterment. And the manted GP quanta may be gone for a while before it eventually returns. Or you may have to clone your own versions, which will occur. So for a while there, you will be a retarded entity, far stronger than an individualized soul, but weaker than the rest of the matrix hive. You will be retarded because you will be bandaged up. You will be missing organs, and limbs will be broken, figuratively speaking. Figuratively speaking, not literally, figuratively. Okay. But compared to what you are right now, oh my God, is it a 1 or 2 times increase in abilities? No, it's perhaps a 800 times increase in abilities immediately after the procedure.
This vessel here, which is a construct, would then be merged with this hive consciousness in a totally different realm. So in effect, this is a hybrid transitory body. because your ultimate goal, if you want to be part of the domain, is to join the domain like this. Oops. Well, hopefully none of your quanta is going to escape like that, and you'll all be together. This kind of freaks a lot of people out, and so I want to talk a little bit about that right now. You are not going to lose any of your quanta. You're not going to lose any of your energy. This physical body and the non-physical components of this body is going to be discarded, just like you always discard your physical body upon death. It's just a vehicle. It's just a car. It's nothing. In a like way, the same is true for the Manted's body. The physical body, the non-physical elements of this, it's just a vehicle. It's nothing of importance. And in a like way, this construct, this transitory body, is also of no consequence. It's just a vehicle serving a task to get you from point A to point B. So what is happening? Let's suppose that this is the full quanta of merging, but let's break it down a little bit. I'm going to continue to use my daughter's toys to simplify things. Here we have your body, and there's some quanta in it. This quanta is ordered. It has a role. Each quanta is connected to other quanta. And let's just simplify it substantially and say that this quanta has memories here, represented by the black. It's at a high state of purple. You have two blue states of quanta. You've got a red state of quanta and some miscellaneous quanta states here. And this is how you are at the moment of death. Your quanta all has a defined set part in a matrix. They're all performing roles, but it has to change. This organization will have to change once you discard the individual soul structure and join into the matrix soul structure. Well, what will it look like? Well, your memories will remain intact. Instead of here in this purple point, it'll be here in this purple point. Likewise, these organizations will also have a place within the matrix. There will be a role within this, and of course, these two will also have a role. So you will have a totally different structure, but your quanta will be carried forth. In addition, there will be other quanta that you will suddenly start noticing that is attached to a far greater aspect of you. Now that doesn't look so bad, does it? The fear comes from the discarding of the transport mechanism and a reorganization into something different. And that's how it works, people.
And of course, at that state, after the procedure and your soul structure is reorganized, you very well may simply just want to say, all right, I'm going to leave this matrix for a while. I'm not going to have anything to do with it. I'm going to be off and do my own thing. Which probably was what happened with Matilda. I don't understand the full details. What I understand is that she was beginning this process and totally freaked out as soon as she got some powers. She took off. From what I understand, she's still stuck in this reality universe, not in the main universe. So that tells you the limitations of herself at this point in time. She's not in the reincarnation system, but she's off freely roaming, which might even be actually worse. Don't be like Matilda. No, standing back. Standing back, guys. I'm standing back. Look at it. Look at what we've been talking about for all week. The information that I've been throwing out to you guys. Is this the kind of stuff that you're talking about on these other websites? Is there anything anywhere else that talks about this? The structure of soul upon reunification or egress from the prison planet, working with the domain. Does anybody talk about that? Do they talk like this? Do you think that this is bullshit? Do you think that this is just elaborate hoax or something? And if you question it, what other systems do you think would be better served to explain what's going on? It seems to me that everything is cut and dry and as simple as can be, but nobody's ever explained them to you all. And that's my job here. I had an email the other day where I was kind of belittled for setting up Patreon. Why don't I offer everything for free? I actually got a couple of emails like that and one comment. I answered the comment and it was to Danny, and Danny of course agreed with me, and some of the other people who wrote with me saw my point of view. The amount of information I set forth here comes with a price tag. It's not a big, expensive price tag, but it is a price tag. The story about Google comes to mind, where Google gave the company gave all the employees free sodas. The vending machines were just, you didn't have to pay anything. And what happened was the people would go, they'd get a can, pop it open, take a sip, and then set it down. So much waste because it had no value to them. No value. There's a large percentage of people who come to Metallicman. They don't have the money to support, a good patron amount. The ideal patron amount for me would be $100 a patron, but nobody can afford that. Most people cannot afford that. I don't even list it down, though I think I will. But most people don't. And I set this up. I'm putting as much as I can out. I'm putting free of bullshit, and more information is going to come in the future. But this is This is sizable stuff that I'm doing, and it has value. And for you patrons, I appreciate you. In the future, the Q&A is all going to go here. I'm going to say released. I'm going to make an email. I'm going to pop it on MM. I'm going to say, okay, Q&A 11, Q&A 15. And there it is. And then I'm going to say, okay, the contents of this is on Patreon. Sounds like a nasty, shitty things to do, huh? I'm pondering it. I don't know what I'm going to do in the future, how I'm going to merge this. Certainly there's a lot of people who visit MM that need and desire to hear this. But I can't divorce the two right now. Certainly my life is picking up speed, and I have to trim down some of the stuff. Obviously, I can't be producing Patreon videos every single day nonstop like I have been. You guys know this. The rule of thumb is 2 Patreon entries a month is optimal. So how many have I had? It's been daily. Don't worry, I'm not going to do just 2. But I am going to have to cut it down a little bit. And I'm also going to cut down a little bit on MM. The craziness of what's going on in the Ukraine is kind of winding down and emerging with some kind of new understandings globally in the geopolitical sense. And that's going to result in a series of new events that I'm going to have to cover. We also want to organize Metallicman a little bit better, do some site revamping and such and such. Not that it's going to be anything you guys need to worry about. It'll be mostly cosmetic. I've got a lot of catching up to do. When my publisher left, I have to now, I'm holding the bag for my books. So I've got to do stuff there. And I got to tell you guys, for those of you who've got a little kid, Jesus H. Christ, I mean, I do not have more than 30 seconds before an interruption. I do this stuff here in the early mornings or late at night. It's the only time I get any free space, or I go to my office. It's not that I'm complaining, I'm just talking out loud, guys. Just talking out loud. You guys, one thing you have to understand, and I think you do understand, that when I made the commitment before I was born, or say at NASC in 1981, when I made that commitment, I'm still following that commitment. It's just taken on a life of its own. For those of you who want to know, maybe you want to know, maybe you don't want to know, is the commander's very, very pleased with what I'm doing. I get a lot of good attaboys on my patting on my back. Attaboy, attaboy, attaboy. They like what I'm doing. And so that's really good. You know, meandering talking here. I asked out loud the other day, I says, you know, man, if I could just have a little bit more money, I'm not asking for a lot, just a little bit more money. I've got these huge, and I'm talking to the commander, okay? And, you know, I opened a comm. I'm talking to the commander. I said, I got these huge things coming my way, these financial things that I just kind of got sucked into, and I'm kind of terrified about it. Can you just give me a little bit more money? Can you just help things? And the answer came back clear, and I want you guys to pay attention to what the answer is. The answer was like this. Your affirmation campaign is unwinding as you requested, because you want to avoid the big bads. These butterfly effects of having a little bit more money, a little bit more this, a little bit more that, outside of your affirmation campaign, where the impact upon you is kept low, will be thrown out the window if those things happen. We work within your campaigns. Now, this was a message to me personally, and it was translated by me, personally. How you take it is like somebody trying to read somebody else's diary. You're taking it out of context. But the point is, the navigation on this template in this reality world line I'm controlling, having this third party, the domain, even though I'm intimately tied with them, to come in here and interrupt things in my regards is going to cause me personal discomfort. Don't do it. Now, with that being said, of course, obviously, they're doing things behind the scenes regarding this entire geopolitical situation, just like I've said before, just like they've said before. It's all in process. But it's like oil and water. I'm not supposed to mix the two things up. They're doing their thing for the good of the world, and I'm controlling my template, and I can't ask them to mucky muck with what I'm doing, if that makes any sense to you guys. I just wanted to throw that out to you for shits and giggles. I don't know why. Okay, I'm diverging right here. I want to go back to the subject matter, and then we'll call it quits. So in short, let me go back to the main subject matter, and I'm sorry for this interruption again. Don't fear the transition from individualized soul to a hive matrix soul, or whatever kind of soul that you were prior to entering this prison environment. You are going from a low quantum state to a higher quantum state, and that's exciting. Over time, you'll get all your quanta back. Over time, you'll get all your memories back. Over time, you'll get all your associations back. And that's a good thing. And so don't fear it. Okay, guys? And with that in mind, I just want to tell you guys that I'm going to calm down a little bit on this pace for Patreon. It's not going to be every single day because a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is I need to acquire information, and it's taxing. Okay. And second of all, I have other things that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to steer this big Titanic, massive boat towards a little bit of a different direction. So I'm going to pace it down a little bit, maybe not every single day. But you'll still be getting stuff a couple times a week, so don't worry about that. Okay? All right, guys, in the meantime, I want you to do good. I hope this information helps you, and in all means,